So I know I've already kind of made this long just because I've kind of explained a lot of things, but whenever you have your own character stuff, when I was showing like the medic and things of that nature, this is one of the character boards. So you'll have this in front of you. It'll show you what the model looks like. It'll have some actions and things, crafting recipes, a bunch of very important information over the course of the game. And basically, you'll have this sitting in front of you. Every character in Nemesis has an action deck, which is a deck of 10 cards that allows them to do generic actions that a lot of, if not all, characters can do. But there are some cards that are very specific that give specific abilities to those characters. So, like, the mechanic is good at fixing or breaking things. The captain is good at telling people what to do and keeping morale up. The pilot knows how to fly the ship and work computers, so on and so forth. Things like that. So everybody has their own role, and you can use each role for good and for harm. That's part of the balance and the mistrust is, okay, I know that the mechanic is really good at fixing things, but is he actually there to fix things, or is he there to break them? It's a question to be asked. So it's pretty cool stuff there. And then the little bar that I have sitting right up here is your actual inventory slot. So basically, you'll have that sitting in front of your character board, and all of the items and stuff that you have will go in those slots. You'll have complete hidden as far as the action cards in your hand, completely hidden of what items you actually have, and even if people know what items you have, they won't necessarily know the intent behind how you're going to use those items and things of that nature. You'll have basically like things of tracking wounds, signals, slime, all of that stuff. So that's basically a lot of the player stuff, but kind of my last thing that I'm going to show is pretty much the scale of everything. So I never showcased this model, but this model here is what the game calls a larva. I mean, you know it as face huggers. They pretty much can do exactly what they would do in the Alien movie. They can jump inside you and potentially burst out of your chest later. So that's the scale of that model. Oftentimes, especially like if those little face huggers burst out of your chest, they become what's called creepers. And this is, again, another scale of just like how massive these models start to get in comparison. And I'll just kind of up my way up just to kind of, again, further showcase scale of how large these models actually are. So this is an adult model, just as another scale comparison of just like how much more massive they are in comparison to our regular normal human guys. So I like the fact that they like actually scale the models to where they're actually terrifying to look at and to be in the same room with because of just how big they are. Then there's the fucking breeder that just towers completely over you. Like, I'm not kidding, like, yes, I have it zoomed in when I'm showing this, but like, that is how fucking massive it is in comparison to a normal person. And then, of course, you can't go wrong with the queen of the aliens completely towering over everything and over all aspects of Nemesis in general. Like, no, the actual people aren't that small. It's just that the queen alien model is just that huge. The last bit of content that I really want to showcase as far as the rest of the collection goes is that with this game alone, I have two other expansions called the Void Seeders and the Carnomorphs. If you don't want to use any of the Xenomorph intruders, as the game calls it, we can absolutely swap out alien races. Both of these alien races are playable with this. It's just that there's varying degrees of, by far, the Xenomorphs are the easiest as far as facing them and being able to beat them and things like that. And the Carnomorphs, to me, are by far the hardest, just because, as a brief overview, if we wanted to switch out alien races, most of the gameplay would remain the same, it's just how you deal with these threats changes up your approach. So, as an example, the Carnomorphs box that I have to the right, the Carnomorphs are all about flesh zombies, consuming biomass, getting larger, mutating, and getting stronger. Like, they'll eat their own eggs, they'll eat each other to get bigger and stronger, They'll eat corpses, both of their own and, of course, of your own corpse. And then, yeah, like I said, they get bigger, they get stronger, they evolve, they adapt. They're fucking scary. And then the Void Suiters I have to the left that kind of look a little bit more tentacly, they're a bit more of the psychological, insane hallucination type aliens, to where they are not very dangerous outright, but the longer the game progresses, the more and more insane you could potentially get, which could then drive you over the edge to get killed. So, and the other scariest thing is that all of these aliens, except for one, are hallucinations. So if you're closing the door behind you to make sure that they can't get in, well, they're hallucinations. They can just walk through the doors. So, again, they're not dangerous outright, but in a 15-round session, by the time you get to turn 8, 7, or 6, they are more and more and more dangerous, because the insanity is slowly taking you over. So those are all the options that we have. If you want to just stick with the first box of Nemesis, if we want to do just intruders, that's totally fine. If we want to switch the intruders for carnomorphs, we can do that. If you want to switch the carnomorphs for void suiters, we can do that. The last couple of boxes that I have is that Nemesis is a part of a trilogy. As of right now, the third game is not out yet, but I have both the first and second game of Nemesis, and the second game of Nemesis is called Nemesis Lockdown. And essentially, a good majority of it stays the same, but the setting changes from a ship to a Martian base. Or facility, I should say. And basically, there's a lot more pieces and parts, and more social deduction, more ways to hide things, and trick people to overcome a contingency. There's more characters if we want more character options. I currently have, probably coming the 12th of this month, another expansion that I have coming that gives more character options, more builds, and more ways to play just this game alone. But I gotta be totally honest. Like I said, I made this quite long already, but this is pretty much everything that I have to showcase for my game as far as Nemesis goes, because it's fucking awesome. Like, on the scale, yes, these are expensive, but to me it's totally, totally worth it.